From the Oklahoma newsroom, this is an OU update. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Brooke Pryor. Well, Brooke, as the temperatures have warmed up, it must be spring, so it must be spring football, and it is at Oklahoma. They're getting on the field actually today. Tuesday is their first day, but Monday we got to hear from Bob Stoops in his pre-spring football press conference, and Baker Mayfield was obviously a topic of discussion after his arrest a few weeks ago. What did Bob have to say? Any surprises there as it relates to Mayfield?
You know, not too many surprises. The main takeaway there was that he has not determined what Mayfield's discipline is going to be quite yet. He did say he is disappointed in Baker. You know, Baker is a leader on this offense and a leader on the team as a whole. So understandable that Bob Stoops is going to be disappointed. You know, tried to ask him exactly how he felt in the moment, and Bob doesn't like to go into all those kind of details, but saying you're disappointed, it's kind of like a parent saying I'm disappointed in you, really hurts. You know, not going to get mad and fiery and everything in front of the media yesterday, but he's disappointed. We don't know what the punishment's going to be. Expect to kind of have some more clarity on that once the legal process plays out for Baker. That should be determined. I believe it's the Friday before the spring game is when his court date is. More than likely could get a continuance. I don't necessarily see the starting quarterback being in Fayetteville the day before the spring game, but sometime this spring is when we should have more information on that.
Bob Stoops didn't rule anything out, though, right? In terms of, like, would there be a possible suspension?
Right.
Nothing was ruled out, right?
Exactly. We don't know. You know, it could be internal. It could be missing the first half of a game. It could be, you know, missing a whole game. It could be sitting out the spring game. There's no telling, but like you said, nothing has been taken off the table, which I don't know if it's encouraging or discouraging. It's just that's kind of what it is at this point.
Yeah, and the timing of it, they can allow it to play out, too. It's not like something has to happen because there's games being played right now.
This really worked in Mayfield's benefit. I mean, if he's going to get arrested at any point, do it during spring football, or do it where there's enough time to let everything play out. There doesn't have to be any, you know, knee-jerk reactions, and OU is really in a good spot in that way that they can just kind of let it rest for a little bit, let it die down, and then issue the, you know, punishment, whatever it is. You know, that could be announced during the summer. That could be announced at the end of spring football when there won't be any major blowback for that program.
Bob Stoops said that Baker Mayfield, he expected him on the field for the first day of spring ball. A guy, though, that is playing quarterback that is going to have a little more up-in-the-air status is Kyler Murray, because he's also playing for the baseball team. What did Stoops say about how they're going to work out that relationship? It's one thing to be on the baseball team when there's no football going on, but obviously now there's football going on.
Exactly. I think this is going to be something that will be interesting to see how Kyler figures out how to kind of balance the two. You know, Bob said yesterday that if Kyler has a big game, you know, during spring football and he's going to miss a day of practice, and the day before he's likely to double up on reps and then have the next guy behind him or in front of him, however that works, but another guy in that quarterback rotation double up reps the next day. I'm interested to see how that factors into Kyler's you know, fatigue through football and baseball, because you double up on reps in football. Sounds okay that this works in a football scenario, but how does that play into fatigue when you have to pitch the next day or when you have to play baseball the next day? So watching that balance, I think, will be very interesting.
Murray's also had a little bit of a bum hamstring, so I'm sure that has to play into it too. But Bob Stoops did say he wasn't opposed to doing this, which when you're dealing with a guy who might, you know, be on the field next fall if things don't go right for Baker Mayfield or he'd suffer an injury, there's at least some give and take there by Bob Stoops, it seems like.
Exactly. I mean, Bob said that he did not expect or didn't, it wasn't a part of the package when he was recruiting Kyler Murray to transfer to have him play baseball. But like he said, you know, when a guy is given this much God-given talent, you can't keep them off the field. You know, let him do both. Let him decide kind of what his max is. So I think working with Kyler Murray here is incredibly important to make sure that you keep him on your side, that, you know, Kyler is the type of guy that could have a potential to leave early and go to the MLB draft, should that really work out. But I think by Bob playing nice here and letting him do both things, that there's more of a potential to keep him around in the fall.
All right, something to watch as the spring goes on. Obviously, lots to watch as it relates to quarterbacks. We'll have all that coverage throughout the spring, so be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.